Hi, this is Lynn from Alamosa Quilt Company, and I am going to show you how fun it is to make coasters with rope. There's lots of things you can make with rope. Coasters are the easiest, and so I recommend you start with something like this so that you can see if you like it. It's not a huge investment, and you can do all sorts of fun things. So this one, I made the coaster and then I changed thread because I'm using thread color that matches my rope. And then I changed the thread color to something that will show, picked a decorative stitch on my machine and stitched around it. There's a couple different ways you can finish it. This one, I just cut the rope, wrapped it, as you're going, and then zigzagged over the top of it a bunch of times to prevent the frays. And this one, I did this little loop. So you just take the rope and tuck it up here in between where you're sewing and zigzag over that a good bit. So let me show you how to make one. What do you need? You need a sewing machine that can zigzag. You need a jeans needle because the rope is a little sturdy. And then you need a foot. Okay, I prefer this open toe foot. On my Bernina, this is the number 20 foot that I'm using. It's nice open toe. This is the regular foot, the number 1 foot that comes with my Bernina. Some people really like this because you've got that line right there that's on the foot. So you can keep that, you can keep the 2 pieces of rope where they're joining. That line just runs right in between them. I prefer the open toe because I want to see what I'm doing. This one, the metal covers over and you can't really see that. So if something goes wrong right at the needle, it's underneath the foot and you can't tell. But, there's not much that's going to go wrong with this, to be honest with you. It's pretty basic. So what do you need? You need some rope. Okay, this is 2 feet of rope, or not 2 feet, 2 yards. 2 yards of rope is what you use to make a 4-inch, it's roughly 4 inches in diameter here, coaster, and that's a good size. So what do you do to get started? The first thing you've got to do is you've got to coil your rope up, and I do this just start coiling it up. Try to coil it kind of tight, right? You don't want a hole in the middle of your coaster. And I go around about 3 times like this. Okay, some people will put pins in that. I'm not a pinner, so I don't put pins in it. And then I'm going to just do a straight stitch right down the middle, just one. You can do, a couple X's with straight stitches. If you use thread that matches your rope, this is the color I'm using, pretty close, not exact, close enough. Then, all that's less visible. So let's get started and let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to do a straight stitch. And there's nothing fancy. I just have everything set at the default, which is 2.5 inches, or 2.5 millimeters rather, stitch length, and just sew straight across like that. Pull it out. Go ahead and trim those threads because they'll get stitched in. Okay. And so now I'm going to start zigzagging, and right here in the middle. So I'm going to zigzag over this frayed part to kind of hold that in place. And I'll change my machine to zigzag. So when I start, I have my stitch length at the default, which is 1.5 millimeters, but I bump up the stitch width to as high as it will go. On my machine, that's 5.5. If your machine will go wider than 5.5, you probably want to stop at 5.5. Okay, because this is 5 millimeter rope, and so 5.5 millimeters is roughly the middle of each side. So now I'm going to zigzag over that and go back and forth a couple times. Okay, and I'm going to trim those threads. I'm going to try to figure out where I am in my coil. Okay, so I'm gonna back up a little bit. Okay, so important things. Number one, the rope needs to be feeding from this side so that it grows this way. Okay. Number two, if you want to do this properly, you should always stop with your needle on the left. So that way it's stopping on the inside part of the curve. And now, just going to start zigzagging and turning. Okay, now I got to turn this back around. You only have to do this at the start. And there I stopped on the right-hand side, not the left, but you know, try to stop on the left. It's not crucial. The coaster's not going to be deformed or anything. Okay. Let's see, I could go one back. And you see there's the line right here between the two ropes. And you just kind of want to keep that in the middle. Middle-ish. Okay. Now the hard part's over. That was getting started. And the rest of it, until we get to the end, is basically this. Do not pull your rope. Okay, you want it to just lay next to the next one. And as it zigzags, you can see how it kind of pulls them together, I guess. Can get a little boring at this point as it's just turning and sewing and turning and sewing. If your mind wanders and you accidentally don't catch both sides, it's all right. You can stop, pull it out, go back. It's really easy to rip this out too. I mean, and it won't hurt anything. You can just put your seam ripper in between the two layers and start pulling and ripping. Okay, now I'm coming to the end here. You can see this is my end. So you can just put it like that and then just zigzag a lot over that part. Or you can take it, tuck it up in there like that. And I'm going to come along this way a little bit. And go back. And then I'm going to come up this way just a bit and go back. And then back and forth just a couple times. This is just a coaster, you know, It's not going to be super heavy. And there we go. So there's a coaster. Here we go. There's our coaster. Like that. Now, if you wanted to do decorative stitches, change the thread color or not, you know, although you would want it to show, so change the thread color if you're going to do a decorative stitch. You do some decorative stitches on this. You can do decorative stitches around it. You could do decorative stitches, you know, like this. I mean, whatever you can dream up. Okay, it's very easy. It's a lot of fun. And we have all the supplies that you could want at alamosaquiltcompany.com. You click on the word shop up at the top, scroll down, look down the menu, rope sewing. Everything we have for rope sewing is there. We've got kits, we've got the spools, the big spools, and it comes in colors too. Check out this one. I haven't even opened it. Let me open it so that you can see. So the rope is, there's colored rope. Look at how fancy that is. And all of the rope and the kits and things that I have right now is all from the Mountain Thread Company right there. So, and it's all made in North Carolina.